June 2020, planetary transits for Virgo and Virgo rising. This is an equal house chart set up for 0 degrees Virgo on the ascendant, Eastern Daylight Time, New York. We begin June 1st, 2020, with 2 retrograde planets in Capricorn in the 5th house sector. Jupiter at 26 degrees, conjunct Pluto at 24 degrees of Capricorn. The Sun is placed in the 10th house at 11 degrees of Gemini, with the planet Venus at 15 degrees of Gemini, retrograde. The planet Mercury is at 4 degrees of Cancer in the 11th house. In the 6th house, we have the planet Saturn at 1 degree of Aquarius, retrograde. Mars is moving through the 7th house at 12 degrees of Pisces, with Neptune at 20 degrees Pisces. The moon is in Libra at 8 degrees in the 2nd house sector, and Uranus is in the 9th house at 8 degrees of Taurus. Overview. June of 2020 brings 3 major events: the second hit at exactitude of the magnificent Jupiter-Pluto conjunction, an annular solar eclipse, and the entrance of Mars in Aries for a 6-month-long transit. Let's look at each one and determine the life areas that will be impacted. The Jupiter-Pluto conjunction will make its second hit at exactitude in your 5th house sector at 24 degrees Capricorn, 6 minutes retrograde. Planets in retrograde motion bring a review and readjustment. In the 5th house, creativity, love affairs, recreational pursuits, and relationships with loved ones will be redetermined. Additionally, due to the positive, expansive nature of this conjunction, whatever you require to move forward will be available. This conjunction is characterized by lucky fated events, but there are pitfalls ahead over the next 6 months due to Mars in high tension. Please refer to my videos on the Jupiter-Pluto conjunction 2020 for Virgo and Virgo rising, uploaded in December 2019, as well as my video on the 6-month transit of Mars in Aries for Virgo and Virgo rising. The second and third events of importance occurring in June 2020 is the annular solar eclipse of June 21st at 0 degrees Cancer 21 minutes, happening in your 11th house of friends and group associations, which is activated by Mars entering Aries on June 27th. On June 27th, 28th, and 29th, as Mars ignites the eclipse point in your 11th house, there could be a crisis or just intense activity and change pertaining to group goals. Eclipse activations bring emphasis and focus to the life area it impacts. Of course, if you know your exact time of birth and have your astrological chart, you'll also have greater accuracy of interpretation. On June 2nd, Venus square Mars between houses 10 and 7 could stir up friction with superiors or partners, especially if you try to force the issue of your needs and wants instead of patiently going with the flow. Mars in high tension is exceedingly egocentric. In conflict with Venus, diplomacy may be lacking. Be conscious of your state of mind and make adjustments. The planet Venus conjuncts the Sun on June 3rd in your 10th house, a very sociable and affectionate energy. Use it to heal any relationships that have recently become strained. June 5th brings the full moon. 3:14 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time at 15 degrees of Sagittarius in opposition to the Sun at 15 degrees of Gemini, spanning houses 4 and 10, highlighting professional responsibilities versus the responsibilities of home and family. The planet Mars at 15 degrees of Pisces is making a high-tension square, 90-degree aspect, to this full moon. This is a highly frictional and impatient full moon. Be careful of what you say and how you say it at this time to avoid a major conflict with others. If you're on the road today, Drive defensively, especially if you're irritated or frustrated. On June 6th, under Sun square Mars between houses 10 and 7, intense ego conflicts with others in your profession could erupt. This is an aspect of high energy and aggression, with a tendency to force circumstances with others who will then try to stop you because they feel threatened. Conversely, you may have to contend with someone overstepping your boundaries. Instead of ego conflicts, use this energy to get a great deal of work done. On June 11th, Sun square Neptune between houses 10 and 7 is an aspect of deception resulting in confusion. The information you receive on the mental plane may be at odds with what your gut feelings are telling you about a situation. On another level, do not permit any news you receive to activate your inherent fears. Your imagination may be in overdrive. June 13th brings Mars conjunct Neptune in the 7th house, an energy of secret affairs and behind-the-scenes activities. Deceptive actions, however, are not likely to succeed at this time. On another level, the desire to escape the mundane may be strong. Do so in creative ways instead of indulgence in drugs or alcohol. On June 18th, the planet Mercury turns retrograde at 14 degrees of Cancer in the 11th house sector. Also on June 18th, Mars sextile Pluto between houses 7 and 5 is a positive vibration under which to communicate with partners and loved ones and suggest changes or reforms to improve your relationships. The Sun enters Cancer on June 20th, ushering in the summer solstice and moving into your 11th house. Under Mars sextile Jupiter, also on June 20th, between houses 7 and 5, take a break with partners and loved ones for some fun and recreation. June 21st brings the new moon, 2:42 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time at 0 degrees of Cancer, 21 minutes in the 11th house, highlighting friendships and group activities over the month ahead. Use this energy for a fresh start in these relationships. Redraw your personal plans and goals for the future. This new moon is an annular solar eclipse that will be activated by Mars on June 27th, 28th, 29th, emphasizing the concerns of this life area. The planet Neptune turns retrograde on June 23rd at 20 degrees of Pisces in the 7th house. Venus turns direct motion on June 25th at 5 degrees of Gemini in the 10th house sector. The planet Mars enters Aries on June 27th and moves into the 8th house. Mars sextile Saturn on June 28th between houses 8 and 6 favors catching up on work or chores that have been neglected. Communication with coworkers is also favored. June 30th brings the second hit at exactitude of the Jupiter-Pluto conjunction at 24 degrees Capricorn, 6 minutes, retrograde in your 5th house sector. Also on June 30th, we have Mercury sextile Uranus between houses 11 and 9 and Mercury conjunct the Sun in the 11th house. Both aspects tell the story of intense mental activity and harmonious communication concerning friendships, group affiliations, and goals along the lines of reorganizing and restructuring those plans to fit current needs, as well as changing conditions. An excellent time for discussing and creating long-range plans.